A very good morning to all of you and welcome to the session, the Hindu editorial analysis for proficiency in English. Let us start with the snippets. The very first one, reform request. There are two words here. One is reform, the other one is request. Usually I tell students when it comes to one particular word, you should think of related words. Request, what are the other words you have to think of? Urge, plead, request. Urge also means request, but it goes with a formal situation. Reform, a simple word, but what are these reforms about? TDP tells Election Commission to hold SAR 6 months before polls. To hold, to conduct, to hold something 6 months before polls means what? Before elections. As usual, when you see something related to elections, you have to think of all the related words. Candidate, constituency, campaign, canvass, thumping majority, landslide victory, losing deposit, foregoing the deposit, and also booth capturing and rigging, all the words you should. We have got many a time. Let us go to the next snippet. We have another snippet here. You can see Jai Shankar China in China. Jai Shankar in China. SEO should not compromise on terrorism. Obviously, we should never compromise on terrorism. A statement given by Jai Shankar. But there's one important word here, should. Tell me, why is it important? Should is a helping verb. Solicit, also very good word. Who is this? Mukesh. I appreciate. Coming to this should, it's a model helping verb. It has two functions. What is the first function? It is used to advise or suggest to someone. And if you ask me, sir, what is the difference between advise and suggest? Advise is general. Suggest is specific. Advise, if someone is smoking, what do you say? You should stop smoking. Someone is wasting time. You should not waste your time. That's the first function. What is the second function? Should is used to express the possibility, but the chances are less. In English, we have four helping verbs to express the possibility. First one, may. Chances are more. Then after that, might, could, should. They also express the possibility, but the chances are less. It could be true. He might be on the way. He should be on the way. This subtle difference you should know. Otherwise, nothing to learn as such. Let us go to the next snippet. Here we have objectionable work. MP cartoonist gets interim relief from SC. There's one important word here, interim. Means what? For the time being, temporary. That's an important word. But immediately, as a smart learner, you should recollect interim government. For the time being. Imagine no party gets a thumping majority or landslide victory, and then they cannot decide who has to form the government. In that situation, for the time being, temporary, a government comes into existence. That is known as interim government. That's an important one. And also, when I have just used the word government, then you should think of a current government. What is the word? We say current regime. Regime has two different meanings. One, incumbent or current government that is in power. Another one, regime, means something like a strict way of following something. Diet regime, that also you have to recollect. Very good morning to all of you. Objectionable work, simple words. MP cartoonist, Madhya Pradesh cartoonist gets interim relief from Supreme Court. Let us go to the next snippet. Here we have, usually this is something important. I tell students, data point. Every time I tell current regime, very good, rare talent, I appreciate that. Keep responding, keep contributing. You will get benefited. Others will also get benefited. When it comes to datum singular, data plural. But data can be a collective noun, can be a regular noun. As a collective noun, it takes a singular verb. As a plural of datum, it takes a plural verb. No confusion. The cost of EU's over-tourism, European Union's over-tourism, unregulated tourism in some cities is reshaping housing markets in EU. Here we have over-tourism, means excess, in excess. There are two words you should recollect. Enough to. What is the difference? Enough means a sufficient. To means excess, negative connotation. But to also has positive connotations. And the word enough is very important because it can be an adjective, it can be an adverb. As an adjective, it is not important. Exams point of view, as an adverb, it is important. For example, many exams have given, it is, excuse me, it is enough big, wrong. It is big enough to accommodate 10 people. He is enough rich to buy that car, wrong. He is rich enough to buy that car. In this example, enough is an adverb, it comes after an adjective. Big enough, rich enough, bold enough, large enough. This combination, this pattern you should think of. The cost of EU's over-tourism. Unregulated tourism in some cities is reshaping housing markets in EU. A regulation means what? A rule, rules and regulations. Unregulated, without any curbs, without any restrictions, without any controls. And also here an important word, housing. What is the other word for housing? Dwelling. Dwellings, house, dwelling, place of residence. But in Western countries, the word dwellings has become outdated. It is still being used in this part of the world. And when you think of the word dwelling or dwellings, you should think of two important expressions. Some people, what they do, they always think of the past. Then what do we say? Don't brood over the past. Don't dwell on the past. These two expressions are very important. Norms also you can say. Fair enough, very good. Who is that? Pravalika. Let us go to the next one. It goes with sports, and here we have got a new word for the first time. It is about cricket. Cricket, right now, England versus India, India versus England test series. England is up by 2-1. But it is not about England versus India. It is about Australia versus West Indies. What does it say? Series sweep. There is one important word, sweep. Generally, sweep means what? We take a broomstick, we clean the room, we sweep the floor. That is one meaning. But when you read the newspapers, you come across sometimes headline, sweeping changes, sweeping reforms. There, what does it mean? On a large scale, with immense consequences or impact, large scale, it is known as sweeping changes, sweeping reforms. In this context, series sweep means completely winning the series. Australia skittles, this is a word I was talking about, an important word we have got for the first time. Skittles out West Indies for 27. Actually, who is this Vishnu? Very good, I appreciate. Skittle, it goes with, generally, it's an indoor sport. And we use the expression 10-pin bowling, bowling. And you can have a look, Vishnu has come up with the image of that. You see 10 club-shaped things at one end, at the other end. And from this end, you have to take a ball with a hole, you have to put your finger, you have to roll the ball. And when you hit, all the 10 fall, that means you get the highest score. That sport is called skittle. In this context, it means to wipe out, to knock off, knock out someone or something. Knock down also you can say. Santosh, very good. Knock down, better expression. That's all, otherwise nothing to learn as such. Let us go to the main headline of today's Hindu. Here we have an important headline, execution put off, reprieve for Indian nurse in Yemen. Execution, one important word, put off, an important phrasal verb, reprieve, an important word. First, what is execution? Execute the orders means implement the orders, one meaning. The manager has executed the orders given by the top management. Means he has implemented, he has done the work, one meaning, execute, do something. But in this context, it goes with death penalty or capital punishment, execution, death penalty or capital punishment. Execution put off means that death penalty or capital punishment has been put off. Put off is a phrasal verb, means postpone. What is the meaning? Call off means cancel. Put off means postpone. Subtle difference. Coming to what is the opposite of put off? Generally, students think put on, but put on has a different meaning altogether. Put on your shoes, put on your accessories. And what is the opposite of put on? To wear. Take off. Take off has three different meanings. One meaning, remove, take off your shoes. Second, an aeroplane leaves the runway. Then we say the flight took off at 3:30. The flight became airborne at 3:30. Third one, it goes with business. A business takes off, means what? Becomes successful. All you should recollect. And what is the third one? Reprieve. Reprieve is something like some sort of respite or a break from something. Reprieve means, in a way, a break, some sort of relief. An important headline, so much to learn. Now let us go to the next headline. Or this side we have a few snippets we'll see first. Oh, there's also like, I guess this is the main headline. Okay. That is also a headline, but this is the main headline. What is the main headline? Services exports cut India's trade deficit by 9.4% in Q1. Whenever you come across any article that goes with economy, Indian economy, you have to read. Because in the exam, quite often they give passages based on economy, science and technology, and socio-cultural problems. And you should be in touch with the latest developments. You have to keep yourself abreast of the latest developments. And an important topic, because when I teach online, offline, descriptive English, I tell students, I give 50 topics based on SLEEP's acronym. And I tell them the same 50 topics you get in prelims, mains, descriptive English, GD, and interview time also. They cannot go beyond the 50 topics. And based on each area, SLEEPs means first one is what? Science and technology. And legal, education, economy, polity, socio-cultural problems. Economy, I give some important topics, about 15 to 20, and three topics. Whichever field brings in foreign exchange, important for us. One is foreign trade, exports and imports. Second, tourism. Tourism also fetches foreign exchange. And third one is FDIs, foreign direct investment. All the three topics are very important. Prelims, you may get passage, close, parajumbles. Always keep in touch with topics that go with SLEEPs. Here, export related, services exports cut India's trade deficit. They have done well. Based on that, the deficit went down by 9.4% in Q1. An important article, you should read the article. You can't simply stop with the headline. Here we have a few snippets. What is the first one here? Brazil, China, India may be hit hard by curbs. Hit hard, hit severely. Three countries. What are the three countries? Brazil, China, and India. And they will be hit hard by what? By curbs. Curbs means what? Restrictions. In this context, you can take economic restrictions. Coming to the next one, fall in women at work in rural and urban areas data. According to the data, according to one, very good, who is this? Pravalika says, hit, irregular verb, cut. But 5 irregular verbs are important from the exam point of view. Try to recollect all the 5. Cast, cost, telecast, forecast, broadcast, hurt. These 5 they have given many a time. According to one study, the data, it seems the number of women in urban and rural areas, the number has gone down. I've used one phrase, the number. Then you have to recollect 2 rules. The number, a number. The number takes a singular verb, a number takes a plural verb. That also you should recollect. Coming to the next, we have a pic over here. And when you see something like this, you should be able to make out next second. What is this? Golden Temple, Amritsar, Punjab. And because it goes with religion, here the heading spiritual experience. In this context, I would like to give two words. If you take the world, we have Western countries, Western culture, Eastern countries, Eastern culture. For Western culture, there is one word, Occidental. Have you heard of this any time? Occidental culture. Eastern culture is known as Oriental. Oriental culture, Occidental culture. There's a fundamental difference, broadly speaking, a sweeping statement. Occidental culture, that means Western culture, is materialistic. Oriental culture or Eastern culture is spiritualistic. We all believe in spirituality. Based on that, Golden Temple, Amritsar, Punjab, spiritual experience. As a smart learner, because it goes with religion, you should recollect all the words that go with religion. Already Vagdevi has come up with words like sacred, holy, devotional, devotee, disciple, pilgrim, pilgrimage, theology, theist, atheist, agnostic, all the words. And negative shade of religion, black magic, witchcraft, sorcery, voodoo, all these things you have to recollect. Let us go to the next one. What is it? We have another headline. What is that headline? Odisha student who set herself ablaze on college campus dies. There are two important expressions here. One, set herself ablaze. Another, on college campus. Very important. Who is this Vishnu? Holy, culture, heritage, traditional, pilgrimage, sacred, devotional, theology. Wonderful. I appreciate that. And when it comes to set herself ablaze, there's another expression. What is that expression? Self-immolation. Have you heard of this? Self-immolation means sometimes you see on TV and also you read in the newspapers, someone out of frustration takes petrol or kerosene and douses himself in petrol or kerosene and sets himself or herself ablaze. That is known as self-immolation. Another important expression you have to know. And this is something very important they have given many a time because it goes with common errors. A lot of people say in the campus, wrong, on the campus. See here, never heard of that. Okay, conflagration, inferno. Who is this? Vagdevi, very good. Conflagration, an important word. Inferno, an important word, means fire on a large scale. And breakout, what is the phrasal verb that goes with fire? Breakout. Coming to on college campus, on campus, not in campus. Another typical error they have given a few times, I live in the third floor. Is that right or wrong? I live in the third floor or on the third floor? I live on the third floor. That is also, you have to recollect and remember that one also. Coming to the next one, I guess that is the last one. Let us see. Here we have one more news item. Happy homecoming for Shukla, 3 other astronauts after mission to the ISS. I have already told you guys, when you see a particular thing, think of the words that go with a particular field. Astronaut, cosmonaut, and astronomy, universe, galaxies, heavenly bodies, celestial bodies, meteors, meteorite, asteroids, all these you should recollect, comets, and astronaut, American, cosmonaut, Russian. Already, but there's one important expression here. Homecoming. Homecoming. What is homecoming? Returning. And you should not say return back. Return means to come back. Homecoming. You should also think of back home. Back home also an important expression. That's all from today's front page of the Hindu paper. Let us go to today's editorial. It has taken almost 24 minutes, only the front page. Today's editorial, these are the benefits. A few important words are there and not that difficult to understand. Let us see the first one. Symbolic. Symbolic, symbol, from that you get the word symbolic. Repatriation, Vamshi Krishna, very good. And who is this? Okay, redundancy, very good, I appreciate that. I guess it is Nisha, that would be better short form. Good, I appreciate that. Symbolic part of speech, adjective, meaning representing something else, especially an idea or quality, rather than having practical effect. Something has been shown in a symbolic manner, means what? Something presents a particular concept or idea. Then we use a word, that is there among synonyms. Vishnu, very good. Symbolic word forms, symbol, noun, symbolism, noun, symbolically, adverb. Word combination, symbolic gesture, important. Symbolic representation, important. Symbolic meaning, purely symbolic. Synonyms, see here we have the word figurative, representative, emblematic, emblem, that also you have to recollect. Antonyms, literal, practical, actual, real. Roll out. Roll out is an important phrasal verb they have given a few times. Part of speech, it's a phrasal verb, meaning to launch or implement something such as a product, policy, or initiative gradually or systematically. Usually it goes with a product, manufacturing industry, or a policy related to a particular government. Word forms, roll out, noun. Rolling out, verb, present participle. Word combinations, roll out a campaign, roll out a scheme, policy also you can say, technology. Synonyms, launch, implement, deploy. Deploy is an important word. It goes with police. Imagine there's a trouble, clashes between two communities in a particular city. Then what will the government do? It will try to deploy the police or the army in that particular area. Means to be in position, to be ready to deal with any eventuality. Antonyms, withdraw, retract, cancel. Nudge is an important word. It goes with everyday English. It also goes with effective English. That's why it has been used in the editorial. It can be a noun, it can be a verb. Meaning, as a noun, a subtle prompt or suggestion to influence behavior, one meaning, but generally we use in this meaning, to gently push or encourage someone towards a particular action. How do you push? Using your elbow. Slightly you touch your friend with your elbow. That means you want him to do something and you do it in a gentle manner. That is called nudging. Word forms, nudging, verb, nudged, verb, regular verb, nudge, theory, noun, phrase. Word combinations, behavioral nudge, gentle nudge, policy nudge. Synonyms, prompt, suggestion, push, prod. Prod is important, prompt is important. Generally, in the past, the source of entertainment, who is this Vishnu? The source of entertainment in the past, dramas or plays, that time on the stage. Imagine there is a stage and usually spotlight on a particular actor. There is a person and this actor forgets a dialogue. Then from behind the screen, imagine this is a background. There is one person. He gives a prompt. He tells the actor the particular dialogue. That is known as prompting. Usually classroom, when we ask a particular student a question, other students try to respond. Then I say, no prompting, please. Prompt you must have got. Another meaning of the word prompt, prompt action means what? To do something quickly. Then we say prompt response. Behavioral nudge, gentle nudge, policy nudge. So these words are very important, prompt and prod. Antonyms, command, order, force. Deter. Deter we have got many a time. What is a noun form? Deterrent. Deter, verb. Deterrent, noun. Verb, to discourage or prevent someone from taking an action, especially through fear or doubt. Imagine something acts as a fear factor. Based on that, you don't do something. That is known as a deterrent. Usually, we give the example of nuclear weapons. Imagine two countries, A and B, they have nuclear weapons. These nuclear weapons they never use. They act as a deterrent. What is the reason? If first country uses nuclear weapons against the second country, the second country will also do the same. Then what is the end result? Both the countries will be wiped out from the map. Very simple. And I don't know how many of you know, one writer, Arundhati Roy, and she got Booker Prize, Midnight Children. In that book, she mentioned, using nuclear weapons is like looking at the sky and spitting. When you look at the sky and spit, what will happen? It will fall on your face. Same way, using nuclear weapons, it is similar to that. Both will get wiped out. And they act as a deterrent. Word forms: deterrent, very important noun, deterring verb, deterred verb. Word combinations: deter consumption. In this context, deter crime means prevent, deterrent policy. Synonyms: discourage, prevent, dissuade, important word. Antonyms: encourage, provoke, incite. Not exactly. And when you see words like provoke, incite, and instigate, you should also recollect. And there's one more: incite, INSIGHT. That also you should recollect. Coming to this dissuade, tell me which preposition does it take? Persuade, dissuade. Two important words you have to know. Persuade means to convince someone to do something. Dissuade means to convince someone not to do something. And dissuade in a way negative connotation, persuade in a way positive connotation. A few examples have given: dissuade from. What is a preposition? From. That also you should learn and remember. The next word, the last word, I guess, apparent. Part of speech adjective: clearly visible or understood, seeming to be true but not necessarily so. There are two meanings: apparent, one obvious. What is the meaning of obvious? Something goes without saying. For example, till yesterday, one student, a boy, long hair, and this morning he walked in with short hair. We don't have to ask him, have you had a haircut? It sounds ridiculous. It is quite obvious that he had a haircut. It goes without saying. And obvious, apparent, same meaning. Word forms, but what is the second meaning? One is clearly visible or understood, seeming to be true but not necessarily so. Second meaning is important. Something seems to be true but may not be true. Apparently means at the outset it seems to be true but may or may not. Word forms: apparently, adverb; apparency, noun, rarely used. Word combinations: readily apparent, apparent reason, become apparent. Synonyms: evident, obvious, visible, noticeable. Antonyms: hidden, unclear, obscure. There are two words you have to focus on which come under rather confusing. Tell me, what is the meaning of oblivious? Obvious is one word. Lucid, clear, wonderful, very good. What is the meaning of oblivious? Obvious means apparent or goes without saying. Oblivious means unaware of. Today we see some people, they use a mobile. Using the mobile, they walk. While using the mobile, they walk in the streets. And because they're oblivious of the surroundings, sometimes they may fall in the manhole. They may hit a pole or they may hit a person. All these things are like they have happened already, or not regular, but sometimes. But generally, it has a positive connotation. When we start reading a book, interesting book, then we become unaware of the surroundings. Then we become oblivious of the surroundings. That is a positive connotation. And why should you focus on this word? Obscure means not clear. We can also think of words like vague, ambiguous. And coming to the word obscure, another meaning, not known to many people. If you take writers, some writers are highly talented, but nobody knows about those writers. Then obscure writer. Hill stations. In South India, two hill stations are extremely popular, Ooty and Kodaikanal. But we have other hill stations which are not that popular. Obscure hill station. This meaning also you should know. That's all about today's editorial vocabulary. And what is this editorial about? Interesting. When I was young, we would talk about the USA. a country known for maximum number of obese people, chubby, fat. But today, number one country when it comes to obese people, obesity, China is number one. India has a dubious distinction of being the number two, which is the second country with maximum number of obese people. You may not like it. India is in the second position. Number one, China. Number two, India. And this is all about the same problem, obesity. What is a stimulus more than symbolic on curbing unhealthy food intake? Curbing means restricting. Restricting what? Unhealthy food intake. More than symbolic. Here the writer is telling us something should be more than symbolic. Only symbolic doesn't serve the purpose. And what is this about? It is about a particular problem, the trend for the last 15 years, 2005 I think, or 20 years. The trend, what is the trend? More and more Indians are becoming obese. And it is about that. What is the main idea? Legislative measures to curb unhealthy food intake are a must. Whenever we try to deal with a particular problem, we try to change the habits. There are two dimensions we focus on. One, we try to create awareness. What are the disadvantages of doing that? Why it is harmful? We try to create awareness. But when it comes to public mindset, simply awareness will not bring about the change. There should be some sort of legislation. And this editorial talks about government is doing well. It is trying to create awareness. But editorial says awareness, creating awareness will not solve the problem. Along with awareness, government should come up with legislative measures. Only then we can expect the change. Legislative measures to curb unhealthy food intake are a must. Measures are a must. Must has two functions. One, it is used to express a personal obligation or an obligation imposed by the writer or the speaker. In this context, a writer. Obligation means what? Responsibility, duty, something you should do because you have promised to do. And second function, it is used to convey the idea something is compulsory. In this context, the second meaning, not the first one. Something is compulsory. What is compulsory? Legislative measures. Based on this, you should guess the broad framework. What is the broad framework? What is this about obesity? Why do people put on weight? Why do they become chubby? Because of food habits, because of the food they take. And what are the typical Indian snacks? Laddus, samosas, vada pav, and bel puri, pani puri, all these come under bhajis, all these come under Indian snacks. So about those snacks, how to create awareness about the risks involved if you consume them regularly, and along with awareness, what are the legislative measures required. In a welcome move, the Health Ministry has directed present perfect, all government departments to display oil, sugar and trans fat content in everyday Indian snacks such as samosas, jalebis, vada pavs and laddus in a bid to highlight the health risks of their consumption on a regular basis. This sentence talks about, government has directed the ministry, health ministry has directed government departments, directed to do what? Display oil content, oil, sugar, all these, oil, sugar and trans fat content in everyday Indian snacks. What are everyday Indian snacks? Like mentioned already, vada pav, bhaji, laddu, samosa, jalebi, all these. What is the reason behind? In a bid, in an attempt, here bid means what? Attempt. Bidding goes with auction. Auction, we say bidding, who is the highest bidder? But this is a standard phrase. In a bid means in an attempt. In an attempt to highlight, we have lost a few minutes. It's about the negative impact of these Indian snacks. And once the ministry has directed government departments to display how much sugar, how much oil, once they are displayed, they highlight the risks behind. That is the intention. The campaign will be piloted. An important expression, future tense, passive voice. Someone will pilot something will be piloted. But here, pilot not the regular meaning. Here, pilot means what? To take up the initial study. And once it becomes successful, we try to expand that. The campaign will be piloted in AIIMS, Nagpur, and then rolled out to other cities, as I said. Initially, AIIMS, Nagpur, then other cities. The move comes 2 months after the CBSE directed all affiliated schools. You know, CBSE board, many schools are affiliated to CBSE board. CBSE directed all affiliated schools to establish sugar boards to monitor and reduce the sugar intake of children. This is a good step. Sugar boards to, what is the idea behind? Monitor and reduce the sugar intake of children. Thank you very much. Let us go to the next one. These will list information. What is the role of sugar boards? What do they do? These will list information on the recommended daily sugar intake, one thing. The sugar content in commonly consumed foods, second thing. Health risks associated with high sugar consumption, third thing. And healthier dietary alternatives. In a nutshell, they try to educate children impact of sugar and also alternative. They will try to tell children, don't depend completely on sugar, try to use alternative sources, dietary alternatives. We cannot completely avoid sugar. The initiatives have been driven by, answer my question, have been driven by which tense and active voice or passive voice? Have been driven by present perfect passive voice. They have been driven by studies that provide evidence of increasing obesity trends in India. This is the reason why the Hindu paper had to write this editorial. Some evidence is there. Indians are becoming more and more obese. But this is a general statement. Good, I appreciate. Present perfect passive voice, Vishnu. To substantiate this statement, as in the NFHS data, obesity had increased from nearly 15% to 24% in men and from 12% to nearly 23% in women between 2005, 2006 and 2019-21. 15 years study, then there is substantial increase based on this particular article or editorial. Since the amount of oil and sugar in Indian snacks is not apparent, we have laddus, we have samosas, we don't think of oil, we don't think of sugar. Based on that, they are not obvious. Since the amount of oil and sugar in Indian snacks is not apparent and hence often overlooked, because they are not obvious, we try to overlook and we have happily. These initiatives will serve to fill the gap, future tense, to fill the gap and act as visual behavioral nudges. Imagine they don't mention oil content or sugar level, all that. We have happily, no problem. And once they mention, at least we try to be cautious, we try to be careful. That is the idea behind. And we try to change our behavior. Visual behavioral nudges, much like the pictorial warnings on tobacco products. Pictorial warnings on tobacco products. You all know, someone wants to smoke, buys a cigarette packet. On it, it is mentioned clearly, statutory warning. Smoking is injurious to health. But those who smoke, they see that and buy. Those who sell, they print and sell. That's a different story. Same way when it comes to drinks. Drinking is injurious to health, harmful. But still they sell and people buy and consume. However, building awareness alone cannot bring about behavioral changes, especially in the absence of essential legislative measures. Main idea is being reiterated. At the outset, I said, when you want to bring about change among people, two things are required. You have to work at two different levels. First level, create awareness about the impact and the risks involved in consuming some product. Second level, bring out legislation and make sure those products are not available or they are restricted. Otherwise, no impact. The main idea is being reiterated. Surprisingly, while the Health Ministry has targeted Indian snacks, nothing has been done over the years to introduce clear front of package labels to caution people about unhealthy packaged food items and regulate the advertising, marketing, and promotion of unhealthy food to children. The sentence talks about, in a way, double standards. All these years, if you look at the Department Health Ministry, did not target usually we have packaged food, and many brands are multinational brands. Some are Indian, but many popular ones are multinational. Sentence talks about here, Health Ministry has targeted Indian snacks, but nothing has been done. This is also an important pattern, present perfect passive voice. They have not done anything. Nothing has been done by them. Over the years to introduce clear front of package labels to caution people about unhealthy packaged food items and regulate the advertising, marketing and promotion of unhealthy food to children. They haven't worked on those packaged foods, but for the first time, they have targeted Indian snacks. Also levying additional tax. Levy means impose. Levy tax, impose tax on food products with high levels of fat, sugar and salt can further reduce consumption. Imagine they increase the price. Obviously, it won't be affordable. People try to reduce the number, reduce consumption. That is a good idea. Further reduce consumption, then you have to recollect FAR. Farther talks about distance, further, in addition to. Reduce consumption as seen in some countries. It seems in some countries, what did they do? They increase the prices of unhealthy food. Obviously, they become expensive and people can't afford. Then consumption levels go down. As in the National Multi-Sectoral Action Plan for Prevention and Control of Common Non-Communicable Disease. This is an important word. Communicable disease means spreads from one person to another person. Non-communicable, it does not spread. For example, I become fat, it doesn't spread to another person. But some diseases they spread from one person to another person. Communicable, they spread. Non-communicable, they don't spread. The Food Safety and Standards Authority of India regulation was required to be amended for inclusion of front of pack labeling. Some regulation was required to be amended, means some changes were required for inclusion of front of pack labeling and detailed nutrient labeling. These two are important. Front of pack labeling and detailed nutrient labeling. The FSSAI packaging and labeling regulation was amended in 2020. They brought about some changes. On July 15, the Supreme Court of India again directed the agency to execute this label on packaged food. And they specifically mentioned they should be highlighted or they should be shown on packaged food. For front of pack labels on HFSS food and beverage products to become a reality, the FSSAI has to first define the upper limits for sugar, salt and total fat, which have not been finalized and approved so far. What does the sentence say? To make something reality, first they have to decide and define the upper limit. They have not done it. And upper limits for sugar, salt and total fat, which haven't been finalized and approved so far. When you see the phrase so far, you have to think of present perfect tense. But here, where is it present perfect? Have not been finalized. Again, excuse me. Again, present perfect passive voice. But there's one important helping verb. What is it? Have to, has to. It is only one. Third person singular we use has to, other pronouns we use have to. What is a function? It is used to express an external, an obligation imposed by an external authority or an obligation imposed by a situation. Tomorrow you get the job. Thank you, Vishnu. Thanks for the concern. Tomorrow you get the job. First day you go to the office. Someone receives, introduces your colleagues, tells about your responsibilities. These responsibilities, external authority means the top management has imposed. Obligation imposed by an external authority. Then he may say, you have to do this, you have to come by so and so time, you have to report the manager. And what is the second function? obligation imposed by a situation. Imagine today is the last day to pay the electricity bill. What do I say? I have to pay the bill today. Very important helping verb, do remember. And what is the past form? Had to. I had to do it because of something, some reason. I had to do it. The police had to do something. Important pattern, you should know, exam point of view, very important. Here main idea is being reiterated. Let us go to how it ends. A 2022 study found that warning labels outperformed all other forms of front of pack labeling in identify unhealthy products. It should have better identifying. Means when people see a warning label, obviously they get scared, they get worried, they try to avoid that. A study by the ICMR NIN found that warning labels and Nutri-Star ratings help deter the consumption of even moderately unhealthy foods. Obviously, what happens? You see a warning label. Everyone may not do that, but majority. Warning label they try to avoid. And nutrient stars, 5 stars, healthy food, they try to buy. And based on that, it seems people avoided consuming even moderately unhealthy foods. How does it end? Measures to build awareness without essential legislative measures to curb unhealthy food intake will not be much more than symbolic. Means what? Identifying sounds good and it is grammatically correct also. Here the same idea, simply awareness no use, but legislative measures, then it is going to bring about the change. Otherwise it remains only symbolic. That is of no use. Let me check the time. Now time to answer questions based on comprehension skill. It is already 9:55. I am extremely sorry. I have to wind up the session now. Or try to answer these questions based on comprehension skill. 5 questions. What is the central theme? The necessity of legislative action to curb unhealthy food habits. Very good, Vishnu. First one to respond. Let us go to the second one. Read the second one quickly. What is the tone of the editorial? It cannot be humorous. It cannot be sarcastic. It cannot be apologetic. Analytical and mildly critical. Not too critical, mild, in a mild way. Explicit information, according to the editorial, what is the purpose of displaying oil, sugar and trans fat content in Indian snacks? Why should they display? What is the idea behind? Increase their sales, encourage traditional food practices to create awareness of the hidden health risks. Third one also C. Inference based. What does the writer imply by calling such awareness campaigns visual behavioral nudges? Writer based you can take. Writer's opinion. What does he convey based on that expression? Visual behavioral nudges. They are meant to visually market. They are ineffective tools. They act like soft reminders to influence people's food choices. They are nothing but reminders, in a way, reminders in a gentle way. What is the last one here? Summary based. Which of the following best summarizes the writer's main argument? What is the writer's main argument? You cannot simply depend on something that is symbolic. Creating awareness will not be enough to bring about the change. A writer talks about 2 dimensions. One, creating awareness. The other, bringing about legislative measures. Traditional Indian snacks should be banned. Schools and hospitals are the right places. Awareness initiatives are good, but legislation is crucial to make real change, obviously. We still have 3 minutes. Try to spot the error, not easy. Error location question. Despite Mr. Trump's constant refrain about, I always tell students, we have combinations, we have exceptions. Refrain takes a preposition from. Based on, if you go with a fixed idea, you may think about, then refrain about, wrong combination. Nothing wrong with this. Listen and do remember. English or any language for that matter, many patterns are there. Usually refrain, restrain, they take the preposition from. But based on the context, sometimes you don't have to use. Here, nothing wrong with the word about. First part, there is no error. Refrain about the flow of fentanyl, the opioid coming through America's northern borders. What has rankled the American president is. Here there is an error. We cannot say what has rankled, what has annoyed the American president is. Something has annoyed. So we cannot use are. Some is the right word. Very good. Identify the part of the sentence that contains an error. The 35% tax was imposed despite ongoing trade talks, which Canada was hoping would result. Whenever you see a helping verb or a model, you have to recollect an important rule. After a helping verb or a model, if you have to use a verb, that should be in bare infinitive. What is bare infinitive? Basic form without to. Based on that, here we cannot say results, would result. Result is the right word. Very good. I appreciate those who have got it right within no time. Filler-based question. Canada's move to withdraw the digital services tax was seen as a to de-escalate tensions with the US. Means something positive because they wanted to bring down the tensions between Canada and the USA. Defy means to challenge, one meaning, to refute, another meaning, and provocation, negative word, mandate, neutral, punishment, negative word. Seen as a gesture to de-escalate, seen as a move to de-escalate. Very good. That is the answer. Next one more based on filler. The editorial warns that using economic pressure on close allies may long-term diplomatic ties. Editorial was about that. You should not use pressure on the closest ally. Here, may, we need a negative word. Cement means bond. Strengthen, cement positive word, strengthen positive word, harmonize positive word, reconstruct positive word. Only one negative word. What is that? It may damage the ties. Here we have word usage scramble. Scramble in this context, try to do things in a hurry, scurry. The chef scramble, grammatically wrong. Nations scramble to find common ground during global summits, right? The company scramble, grammatically wrong. He was scramble, grammatically wrong. What is the answer? Nations scramble. They try to do in a hurry, frantically. They try to find a common ground. These are the idioms, 5 idioms. Try to answer quickly. We have gone past 10, but no problem. Important. Last slide, revision, not important, but this is important. Try to get all the 5 correct. Phase of music means what? To receive, to accept punishment or consequences for one's actions. 3 is the answer. Feather one's nest, to secretly gain wealth, often unethically. Answer is a 4. Fly off the handle means to become angry, to get angry suddenly. From the horse's mouth means reliable source. To receive information directly from the original source. And full of hot air, speaking in a way that is exaggerated or meaningless. What is the correct order? 3, 4, 1, 2, 5. That's all for today. I hope you guys have got enriched. Extremely sorry we had a technical glitch, but we could complete. And the last slide, you all know about what? The words you got yesterday, try to write the meanings. Have a nice day. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.